What is up, everybody? How's everybody doing today, man? You already know how it goes. It's your boy B back with another video. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you don't know who I am, my name is Brandon Jones and I specialize in helping you, yes I said it, you make an extra income. And today we're going to be talking about what I would be doing if I wanted to become rich phone flipping. Now let me first define what I call rich, okay? Rich is you being able to make enough money to where you don't have to work anymore, and you being able to spend time not only phone flipping but working on something else that you enjoy. Now I have successfully helped 78 people, I'm proud to say, start phone flipping and making at least 5 figures every single month. All right, now it didn't happen overnight, it didn't happen in a year, it took time. So if you are somebody that's just looking into getting into this hustle, is it possible? Yes. Is it easy? No. Okay, and I'll be straight up and I'll be first to tell you that when I first started phone flipping, I had to put in the work. I did a bunch of things that I honestly hope nobody has to do, including sitting outside of bus stops selling phones in the middle of Kensington. And if you don't know what Kensington is, it's a zombie land, okay? And having to hold myself accountable when I did get money and having to be self-motivating. So guys, I have a community called Hustlers Reselling Academy where I hold everyone accountable and work closely with all of my students. You guys can go check that out below. We have phone flipping classes live every single Monday at 9 p.m. You guys can learn with me and I can teach you guys tips and tricks and always keep you guys updated. Not only that, we also have a price list available at hustlertoldme.com as well. Now, what is phone flipping? Phone flipping is when you're buying a device for lower than market value. And I honestly like to think of phone flipping as something that we all have done once, okay? We all have sold something. We sold something, whether it's to a friend, whether it's a candy bar, and we exchanged it for some type of service, or if it was currency, you guys have flipped something before. Now, phone flipping is no different. You are literally buying a device for lower than what it is valued at. And you sometimes are going to have a chance to make extreme profits. And I'm talking about profits that you wouldn't even think about making. Sometimes you're going to find those deals. Sometimes you're going to make $20 though as well. Okay, it all depends on what your change fund is. And I'll go over what that is later in the video. But it all depends on how you negotiate and also where you are looking to source phones. Now, I've been phone flipping for more than 10 years, and I've also been able to grow my own business and build 4 stores in Philadelphia and have my syndicate of phone flippers in different states to where I'm flipping phones right now and I'm not even doing nothing, right? So I'm going to share with you guys exactly how to get this done, okay? So, number 1. Phone flipping is buying a device lower than market value. You can do this on a bunch of different platforms. My favorite platform to do this is on OfferUp. All right, OfferUp, I like that platform because it gives you the ability to be able to meet people in person. And if you meet people in person, you limit your chance of getting scammed. Now, a lot of people get scammed. A lot of people sell replicas. A lot of people sell fake phones. A lot of people sell boxes that are sealed and they're not even anything in it. So you have to make sure that you're inspecting what you expect, and OfferUp gives you the best probability, in my opinion, to make sure that you can actually physically touch it instead of going and getting it shipped, or going and meeting somebody off of a Craigslist ad. Like, I wouldn't do Craigslist even though I can meet them and I know that I'll obviously be able to hash out a deal, but I also feel like Craigslist is a bit iffy too because I don't have a platform where people come just to sell devices, and I don't have a platform that is a currently booming, because OfferUp is booming platform for resellers. You want to make sure when you are phone flipping that you start with money, okay? Do not be one of the people that's saying, hey, can I do this for free? No, all right? Now, is there a way to use other people's money phone flipping? Absolutely, but we're not going to be talking about that in this video. we're just going to be talking about how you can literally start phone flipping using money that you have, okay? So yes, you may have a job, hopefully, or a hustle where you're actually getting some type of money that you'll be able to utilize when it comes to phone flipping. All right, I tell people all the time, you'll need anywhere from $200 to $300 to get started, and that is on the low end. But that is going to be enough money for you to be able to start making a good amount of profit, enough to where you can actually build your money up to being able to buying multiple devices throughout the week without having to sell to a buyer or consumer immediately. That is called a change fund, okay? A change fund is going to be the amount of money that you have dedicated to flipping devices. So, prime example, if I was somebody that, let's say I got paid $840 every single month, right? And out of that money, I know, hey, I want to take $300 and I want to always put that $300 towards flipping phones. So month after month, I'll be building my change fund up $300 at a time, okay? A change fund is where you do not take the money, touch the money, spend the money unless it is for phones, okay? This holds you accountable. It also helps you keep your money management on key, so you don't have to worry about, oh man, I don't have the money that I thought I did, or oh, I was going to use this $500 but then bills came up. No, the change fund is not to be touched unless you are flipping phones, okay? That is the best way to do this. I have helped numerous of students with this technique. Now, when it comes to us doing this change fund method, I say it is important that you have a business account. Why? Because as a lot of individuals don't know, like I didn't know, when you create your business account, you're building a relationship with the bank. And if you do have your $300 in the bank and you are putting money every single month into your bank account, aka change fund, you are showing the bank that you're making some type of money. Then, not even to mention the profit that you will be getting from phone flipping going inside the bank too. Now, let's talk about the negative. The negative is you will have deals where you will not be able to actually close them that same day if you spend all of your money you took out. So, prime example, let's say I have a change fund and I got $1,000 in there. Let's say in the morning time I took $500 out the ATM, but now somebody wants to sell me a phone at 6 p.m. And the bank is closed and I need to take out more money, but I reached my ATM limit. Those are things that you have to watch out for. That's why I tell people, make sure that the profit from your change fund goes into your business bank account, but always keep that initial $300 or whatever amount you want, keep that in cash. Keep that in a place like home, in your room, or somewhere where you know it's safe. I like to get one of those cashier bags, and I like to keep my change funds in there, just like I do at my stores. All right, now, next, after the change funds, let's talk about how do you use it? How do you utilize your money? So what I like to tell people is you have to understand, number one, you have the most leverage. Because a person selling a phone can't go to McDonald's and buy a chicken Big Mac with a iPhone 16. Now, I know we love to think that they have all of the leverage and they have all the momentum because they have the phone we want. But in all totality, you have to realize what you have. Money. And I'm going to tell you something. Money is the biggest leverage, I think, in this phone flipping or even resellers world or atmosphere that you can have. It's the biggest chip, the biggest and best leverage because everybody wants it, right? Everybody wants that money that you have. So you have to go into every negotiation. You have to go into every meeting knowing that if they do have 10 phones, and let's say you like, oh man, they sound these phones for a great deal. Remember who has the money? You. Remember who has the leverage? You. Okay? It's important because sometimes we forget and sometimes we allow others to make us panic. We get nervous and that's when we start making mistakes. Okay? So understand that your change fund is what essentially gives you leverage. Not the way you talk, not the way you look, not the car you drive, not the reviews you have on your profile, but the money, right? Because that's what the person wants. So how do we use that as leverage? We want to make sure that we are always going by market value, because just as much as our money has value to that phone seller, our money has value to us too. Now, one bad deal, if you start with $300, can take all of your money, okay? Because yes, you can go ahead and find an iPhone 14 or 15 Pro Max right now for $300. And you can go and meet that person at a ShopRite. And when you meet that person can hand you the phone. It could be sealed or whatever. Then they walk away, you give them the money. Now, leverage was exchanged. You took a physical asset and they took money, right? Now, when you walk out and you leave and then you find out that that phone is fake or that that phone is locked, you automatically are in the red, because guess what? It's going to be harder for you to find somebody that's going to buy it for the amount that you spent. That's why you have to make sure that you are monitoring not only the phone condition, the way that the IMEI is looking as far as what it's saying, but also you have to manage how much money you're putting out there in general. Because every time you buy a phone, it is a risk. I still get butterflies every time I buy a phone, okay? And I lied to you guys not. It is, I think, a thing that people, for some reason, they assume that when you do this for a while, that you're ultra confident and you have no worries. But that's not true, right? You have worries sometimes, because no matter what, a phone deal could always go wrong. And people are very crafty nowadays. I was just on live and I was just showing people how to buy Apple Watches. And I came across a whole bunch of Apple Watch Ultra Gen 2s that were clones and replicas. And I would not have known if I was just a new buyer. Like, I would just thought, oh, okay, great deal. You know what I mean? So it's all about understanding that, hey, I want to make sure I am doing my research for each deal, because each deal does have a risk, okay? So we want to make sure that we're spending the least amount of money on each deal. We don't want to be nice. We don't want to give money away. And if we're going to spend the least money on each deal, that also would mean that we need to know market value. Now, this is where our price list on hustlertoldme.com comes into play. We have a price list with 50 wholesale buyers. 25 of them are in the country, okay? We're talking about Alabama, Louisiana, Florida, Kentucky, Virginia, New York, Philly, California, Texas, whole bunch of different places. We have a whole bunch of buyers, but we also have 25 that are going to be in the different countries, and we also have people that are going to be internationally, okay? So 25 in the country, 25 internationally, okay? And these people are going to give you the best prices. And we put in that price list the market value. So we take all 50 buyers and we take their prices, divide it by 50, and we get the market value. This is going to be the median price. So that means this median price that we have right here, this is the price that is the bottom amount that this phone is worth. But we already know the buyers, 9 times out of 10, they are going to be paying you higher. We want to make sure that we're not looking at, oh, this buyer says he's going to pay me $300, so I need to just go ahead and buy this phone for $280 because then I'll make a $20 profit. No, we need to make sure that we compare this buyer's price with this buyer's price and that buyer's price, so that we can make sure that if this buyer doesn't want to buy it and that buyer doesn't want to buy it, oh, this buyer will. And guess what? I still don't lose any money, okay? I still don't need or lose any money. So that is, I think, one of the biggest benefits. And I'm texting a buyer right now. So it's like these type of interactions and this type of network, when you have multiple buyers, allows you to never ever have to worry. You know what I mean? Like, you always know, hey, if this person gives me a price that I'm not accepting of, I can always go to the next. And that is a power that I know that I think that I was able to hone and bring in and be able to develop and utilize, right? And it's important to never let yourself get put in a position to where a buyer is putting their leverage over you to where you feel restricted. I've had positions like that so many times in my life where I would go and I would look at a buyer's price list and the buyer would say, hey, I'll pay you $300 for this phone. And I'm like, okay, cool. And then the next week, same exact phone, he would say, oh, the price went down, I'll pay you $280. I'm like, all right, cool. Then the next week, same exact phone, $275. Like, and yes, prices go down. And yes, prices do change. But I'll tell you this, they don't change that often, okay? They don't change every single week. What happens is a lot of buyers, they'll see who's gullible and they'll see, hey, how low can I get this person because I want to make more profit? That's how it works. And I think that's what made me create the price list. But back to the buyers, right? There are two ways if you want to be able to make profit and be able to make a bunch of money phone flipping that you are going to have to sell. One to a consumer and then the next one to the wholesale seller. The wholesale buyer, wholesale seller. All right, so let's talk about the buyer, okay? So it's two ways for you to sell phones. You can sell a phone to a consumer or you can sell it to a wholesale buyer, okay? Now, a consumer is going to be a person like me and you. Somebody that is buying a phone because they want to use it or buying a phone because they want to gift it to somebody. But then you have a wholesale buyer. Now, this person is going to be somebody that is buying a phone to resell to somebody else or maybe resell to a store. These people are really common when it comes to overseas because they don't have access to the devices that we have in the States. And if they do, they're more money. All right, so you're going to need to literally utilize both people, both types of individuals in order to get rich, okay? Now, when it comes to you, you have to also understand that you got to be able to determine what phones to sell to who. Now, I would say anything from an iPhone 13 and under, I'm going to sell to a consumer. Anything up and above that, I'll sell to a wholesale buyer. Why? Because wholesale buyers don't want old phones because those old phones aren't going to give them enough profit. You got to think about it like this. If I sell somebody an iPhone 13, that iPhone 13 might be worth, let's say, $300 market value. If I buy that phone, let's say for $250, then I go ahead and sell it to a wholesale seller. He buys it for $300. Now he has to then still make a profit on it and I guess sell it for what, like $340, $350. It's like it doesn't make sense margin wise for them. They want to make the most money possible while also being able to source phones and making us happy, accommodating us. So that's why I wouldn't sell a lower tier phone, okay? But an iPhone 14 and up, you're good. You can sell those. But also make sure you have a price list that tells you market value so you know exactly what phones to sell to who. It's really, really simple when you do it and you get the hang of it, okay? Now that we talked about who to sell, who to buy, now one thing I do want to say though is a consumer is going to be somebody that wants to buy a phone for personal use. So they buy that phone based upon what they deem that phone to be valued as. Now, a consumer is somebody that buys a phone contingent on how they want to use it. So how they find it valuable. Not everybody finds an iPhone 11 valuable, so they won't pay you $300. They may pay you $150, $100, but they're going to offer and they're going to pay whatever they feel it is valued at. So that gives you more flexibility if you have a lower tier phone for you to make a profit. Because if you go ahead and buy an iPhone 11 right now, a wholesale buyer don't want that junk. They don't want it. But a consumer would definitely buy it, especially if it's at a good price. Now, mind you, consumers also, it goes in another way. Consumers don't know what to sell these devices for because they don't have the prices that you have. So you can buy these phones from consumers for cheap and sell to consumers for higher. It all is a waiting game. 9 times out of 10, when you're selling to consumers and you're buying from consumers, it's going to take more time rather than more money. And that's the difference. Now, when it comes to being able to sell to a wholesale buyer, that is going to be a difference, right? So now they're not buying the phone because they think that it's shiny or because they like the design. They're going to buy the phone based on the market value. So how much can they make from this in their market? The Bahamas has a different market. DR has a different market. Europe has a different market. Okay, so it all depends on their market. That's why we get a whole bunch of buyers, add their prices, and then divide it so that we are in one with the market. It makes sense. And I will say, I haven't saw another phone flipper think of that. Because I rather than want to just be a individual flipper, have always thought of it as, if I can put my money in as many places possible, I can make more come back to me. And that was, I think, one of the best revelations I've had, because it changed a lot for me. All right. So now we talked about consumers. We talked about wholesale buyers. Now, where the heck do you get these phones? So when it comes to phones, you'll have a whole bunch of people telling you a whole bunch of different places. You'll have some people telling you about eBay. You'll have some people talking about OfferUp, Facebook Marketplace. But I'm going to tell you this. In my experience, the 10 years I've been doing it, I have found 2 ways to be the best. OfferUp or in person. So if you don't have a store, in person's out. But if you do have a store, you'll have times where people will just come in and want to sell phones because they need to pay for the rent. They just don't want the phone anymore. It's collecting dust. But again, it makes sense for you, so you make it make sense for the customer. If you need to pay your rent and you are trying to sell me an iPhone 14 and you short, let's say $200, if I offer you $250, you're great. You're good. You'll take it. You see what I'm saying? So it's all about understanding in person, why are they selling it? How much do you want? That's why you'll have a lot of people ask you, how much you looking to make? Because they want to gauge and see if your price is lower than theirs and they can accommodate. But you also can go and find phones on OfferUp and other social apps. Now, this is going to be more competitive, and it's going to take a lot of negotiation skills to do this on a consistent basis. Now, you can buy phones all day for the price that people ask, but I like to buy phones for lower. I like to bring people down, but make them feel like they won the negotiation. I have a bunch of tips and tricks and things that I share in my Phone Flipping Academy that teach you how to do this. But I also have the phone flipping course that I do live 9 p.m. every single Monday in my academy. So make sure you join. Now, when it comes to these apps, I recommend starting with OfferUp. You can scale and you can make thousands buying phones on OfferUp. OfferUp is very strict, and it does a really good job at stopping bots and also people that put those annoying, hey, we buy phone little posts up. Again, I personally, I don't knock nobody's game. I don't like nobody's hustle. You do what you do. But I will tell you, I'm able to get at least 3 phones daily without having to post any of the we buy phone pictures, okay? You can do that too. And I teach you more tips and tricks on this channel, so make sure you subscribe. But again, off those apps, you now are, one, sourcing. You got a price list. You know the 2 types of individuals that you can sell phones to. And you already know we got to get the phones from the consumers, okay? But what type of consumers are selling these phones on these apps? Now, I know I just said, hey, you got some people that want to pay their bill or they want a few extra dollars in their pockets. But there's another seller. And this seller is kind of controversial. And some deem them to be bad, some deem them to be good. I think that they are just them, right? They are just in their own rights, and it all depends case by case. But they are wholesale sellers. Wholesale sellers are people that get phones, whether it is using a CPN or whether it is using somebody else's name or using somebody else's account, they'll get these phones. These are the people that sell phones and they are brand new. You are not getting brand new phones every single week just off of your account. It's not that. You're doing something a little fishy. And that's why I said controversial. So you will realize not a lot of people are that open when it comes to, hey, how are you getting phones, new phones, over and over, buddy? They're not going to just tell you, unless you're real cool, what they do. But I'm going to tell you, they're wholesale sellers. They're people that can make you thousands of dollars, but you also got to make sure that you don't associate yourself with anybody doing anything crazy like snatching demos out of stores and stuff like that. But these people, they float around on OfferUp, Facebook Marketplace, and even in person. And you can find them and they can make you a lot of money because they're bringing you so many phones that you're flipping. Okay? So those consumers are out there. Now, let's talk about the meat and potatoes. How do we bundle, matter of fact, all of this? Now, let's talk about the meat and potatoes. How do we bundle all the information I just told you? And how do we put it to where we can start making 5 figures monthly? So, number one, you got to master what I just told you. You got to start doing it on your own. You got to start doing it. Start buying phones. When you can buy at least 3 phones a day, every single week, you are mastering. Or if you can get at least 10 leads every single day, at least you're mastering. You need to then find a community that has other phone flippers. And you need to let yourself get rid of the pride or the fright or the scaredness or whatever you want to say it is, right? And start networking. The only way a phone flipper is going to start making 5 figures every single month on a consistent basis is by working with other phone flippers. Because you have to understand, if I'm a phone flipper that's just getting started, I don't have the capital or the experience, or maybe both, to be able to scale. But what if I have somebody else that's in another state that has both, or maybe one? Maybe you don't have the capital to be able to say, hey, bro, let's put our money together and let's start buying phones. Maybe you may have the knowledge. But what it is start a reselling group where it's like, okay, I'll give you guys an example. Let's say I live in Philly, John lives in Florida. I say, yo, John, I know you live in Florida, I live in Philly, but let me know if you find anybody that has phones. And if you cannot provide the capital, I'll cash app you and front you the money and you ship me the phone. Or you front the money, ship me the phone, and I will pay you X amount. I'll pay you a finder's fee, or I'll deal with the person on a one-to-one basis, have you pick up the phone, I'll pay them the money, you get the phone, and you ship me the phone, or you get the phone and you ship it to the seller. Now, I know you like, wait, I don't trust that. And I understand, and it makes sense that you don't trust it. But I'm gonna tell you this, when you're in reselling groups and you're establishing a bond, like the Reselling Academy, you start to understand like a lot of business, especially in the tech industry, has to do with trust. And it's scary. But let me tell you this, when I have AirPods, phones, drones, chargers, a whole bunch of accessories, right? $20,000, $30,000 worth of accessories in the store. And I have employees that I don't even know in there, and they're just supposed to be selling for me, but they could easily take something out of their store. It's scary. But that's why make sure you take every single precaution. So even if that means taking an ID or making sure that you have them fill out a W-2 form and put them under your LLC, there's so many different ways I go over in the academy on how to create this structure. But in essence, the way to get rich phone flipping is by not just doing it by yourself, but getting at least 5 people in different states actually start working with you phone flipping. So when you have a slow day, Timmy in Alabama, they can actually say, hey, I got 2 people that wanna flip phones or wanna sell phones to me today. So I'm about to cash them out. What's your price list looking like? And then you tell them, hey, all right, I could do X, X, and X. And then you say, okay, listen, buy the phones, ship them to me, they get to me, I'll cash you out the $200. You use the price list, I should have told me how, to your advantage, and you start outsourcing it to people. That's how you make the money phone flipping. So guys, that's it for right now. I'll share with you guys more tips and tricks on this. Let me know if you guys have any questions in the comments below, and I will see you guys in the next video. Thank you so much for watching. Peace.